We see aggression across the animal kingdom. This is interesting to psychologists because it raises a question. Are the aggressive feelings and behaviours we feel as humans unique to us? And is what we see in animals a different process? Or do we share some of the same features of aggression with animals? If that's the case, then observing animals gives us an opportunity to study aggression removed from all the social and cultural forces that are linked to human experience. Connected to this idea is human evolution. Aggression is clearly an evolutionary advantage to animals. So is the same true of human evolution? And could the explanation for modern maladaptive human aggression be a legacy from our violent ancestors? Psychboost.com, over 170 videos to help you with your qualification, and Patreon supporters can access bonus resources, tutorial videos, and the Discord channel. Ethology. The scientific study of animal behaviour is ethology. Now, many scientists will study ethology to understand animals, but some psychologists will study animal behaviour in order to apply this knowledge to human behaviour. Now, with wild animals, it's easy to see the evolutionary pressures active in their day-to-day lives. Predator or prey, they need to be aggressive to stay alive. When part of a social structure, they need to be aggressive to show dominance and win the right to mate. When animals are observed, their aggression tends to be ritualistic. What this means is when we look across the species, all the members will show the same kind of behaviour to the same kind of stimuli. So, taking wolves for example, they'll growl, bare their teeth, and puff up the hairs of their back to look bigger. Or if shown submission, they'll roll on their back and show their belly. It doesn't matter what wolf pack you observe, you'll see the same behaviour. Lorenz has an explanation for this. He argued that aggression builds up inside animals as a drive, like a hunger or a sex drive. But he suggests that aggression isn't expressed all the time because there's a neural circuit in the brain stopping aggression. This is called an innate releasing mechanism. The innate releasing mechanism can be triggered by an external stimuli. So let's say a wolf sees a member of another pack in their territory. This then causes the wolf to display a predictable set of aggressive behaviours, which we call a fixed action pattern. So to be clear, these fixed action patterns are innate. They're shared across a species, so the animal doesn't have to learn them from other members of its species. Let's have a look at two examples in the research evaluations. Ethology. Research evaluations. The first research study is by Tinbergen. Sticklebacks show a clear fixed action pattern of aggressive attack when another male approaches their nest. Tinbergen wanted to find out what was setting off their innate releasing mechanism, so he used wooden models and presented them to sticklebacks. Now, one wooden model was realistic, but only lacked the red belly of the male stickleback. The other wooden model was completely unrealistic, but had a painted red underside. Tinbergen found the males only attacked the unrealistic painted model. Now, this suggests that sticklebacks do have an innate releasing mechanism, triggered by objects with a red belly. And when triggered, sticklebacks will perform a fixed action pattern. Well, sticklebacks are fish, and you may think, they're simple creatures, there's not something we can really apply to humans here, which is a fair evaluation. But what if we look at primates? Slackett took baby monkeys from their mothers and raised them in total isolation so they couldn't learn any behaviour through observation. He then exposed the monkeys to pictures of monkeys either in aggressive or non-aggressive poses. Slackett found, when exposed to the aggressive poses, the monkeys would show defensive poses typical for their species. Now, keep in mind, there is no way that the monkeys could have learnt what an aggressive monkey looked like. So the only explanation is the monkeys are born with an innate understanding of what an aggressive posture is, and how to respond to it. This is evidence, then, for innate releasing mechanisms in animals that are closely related to humans. So when applying this to humans, we have a mixed picture. Researchers can do with these studies what they could never ethically do with human participants: separate biological from socio-cultural processes to see what aspects of aggression are purely biological. But of course, the application to humans is limited. Perhaps some aggression is instinctual, especially in fight or flight responses. But much of human aggression is premeditated, like warfare, for example, and a significant amount of aggression is non-physical. Evolution. Evolutionary theory does suggest that aggression in humans is due to biological forces, and is due to the survival advantages that it gave to our ancestors. Now, this basically means that by being aggressive, you don't die long enough to be able to mate, have children, and see that those children live long enough that they can have children themselves, passing your aggressive genes on into the future. So precise examples of aggressive behaviours would be surviving a predator attack, fighting with other members of your species, and competing with other species for access to resources, and being aggressive enough that a potential mate sees you as being able to offer protection to them and their offspring. A species can become more aggressive over time because genes can mutate, and if the mutations that cause increased aggression make the individual more able to compete, then their genes will be selected for and become more common in the gene pool. Evolutionary theory is also used as an explanation for variation in aggression between males and females. Male sexual jealousy is thought to be particularly extreme, as males can't be certain of paternity in the same way that females can be of maternity. From an evolutionary perspective, it's a total waste to be spending limited resources on raising a child that is not genetically related to you. So, on this basis, it makes evolutionary sense for males to show aggressive mate retention strategies like mate guarding, which is limiting the access females have to other males, and the use of threats regarding infidelity. Evolution, research evaluations. A pretty disturbing support for the evolutionary ideas of aggression comes from Daly and Wilson. This was a comparison of murder rates in families, looking at how frequently blood and non-blood relatives kill each other. This data analysis showed that across the world, someone is far more likely to be killed by a non-genetically related family member, so partners and step-parents. One horrific finding was infant children in the US were 100 times more likely to be killed if one or both parents were not genetically related to them. This does match the predictions of evolutionary theory. If the parents are not related to a child, then they won't gain evolutionary advantage from raising it. In fact, the resources they spend on it are resources they can't spend on their own children. Now, an interesting counter to the argument that aggressive males are more attractive to potential mates is considering the role of dominance. Now, dominance doesn't have to be aggressive. It's characterized by competition, authority, control, and an attempt to achieve high status. Sadala gave female participants written descriptions of males that were either high or low in words that described them as dominant, aggressive, or domineering, which is someone who gets their own way by being really bossy and arrogant. Interestingly, it was found that the females did rate the males who were highly dominant as more sexually attractive. But the more aggressive or domineering males were not rated as more attractive. In fact, they were rated as less likable, less stable, and more likely to be promiscuous, features that are not wanted in a long-term romantic partner. It seems that the most attractive partner is someone who can achieve dominance without resorting to aggression. This makes sense, as a highly aggressive partner is a danger to the woman and her offspring. We do have to consider the ethical implications of this theory. By suggesting that males are more aggressive due to their evolutionary history, could this be used as a justification of male violence towards women, with men claiming not to be responsible because aggressive impulses are just in their nature? And also, looking across cultures, and even different time periods in the same culture, we can see big variations in the level of aggression males show. For example, in the last 30 years or so, there's been a large reduction in the amount of violent crimes committed. Evolution is a slow process that takes many generations, and explanations surrounding socialization might be better to explain these differences. Here is a real aggression exam question. Give it a go and see how you do. I want to thank everyone who has supported the channel over on Patreon during the creation of the aggression unit. You're helping to make the development of these free A-level videos possible. If you're a PsychBoost patron at the neuron level and above, you can access 6 bonus aggression tutorial videos over on psychboost.com. In them I talk you through a model answer for the exam question, and I'll share some general exam tips based on the exam reports. Sign-ups patrons can access a printable poster, a quiz sheet covering the aggression unit, and an essay table. Neuron can get a set of worksheets and the script to this video. I've designed all of this to work alongside these videos to make a complete set of notes and revision materials. For everyone else, like and subscribe so you don't miss videos released right up to your exams.